Hello and welcome to FAM 352. This is Adolescent Development Online. I'll be your teacher this semester. My name is Samantha Anderson. Here's my contact information. The most important thing that you need to know about how to contact me is that email is the best way to get a hold of me. I do not have an office on campus. I actually live in Texas, so I'm not even in the state. So unfortunately, we won't be able to meet in a face-to-face meeting. But I'll respond to your emails very quickly. I check my email all the time, within 24 hours during the week. If you email me on a weekend, most likely I'll return your email on Monday morning. Sometimes I do check my email over the weekend, so you might get lucky. But yeah, definitely email is the best way. If you would like to talk, we can talk on the phone. You can text me, or we can set up like a Skype conversation if you would like to have more of a face-to-face meeting. I just can't do that in person, so everything will have to be communicated online. Some basic things about online learning in general. I did my master's program at USM in the online child and family studies department, so I have definitely been on the other side of this scenario. I've been in your shoes as an online learner, so I definitely understand there are some challenges to it. There's also a lot of benefits. I really love online learning. It's actually like my favorite way of taking a class or teaching class. I think it's great because of the flexibility that everyone's busy schedules. We can all get what we need and really work around the other things you have going on in your life. Some of the drawbacks would be that because we don't meet face-to-face, it's a lot more student responsibility. You guys have to be the ones logging on and checking in and staying on schedule. Because we're not in a classroom, I'm not going to be reminding you have to be here at a certain time or things like that. So it's kind of tempting to put an online class on the back burner a little bit. Maybe don't give it as much attention. You kind of forget about it because you're not going to a classroom at a set time every week. So just be really careful about checking in regularly and staying on schedule. There is going to be a lot of reading in this class, so please be prepared for that right up front. A lot of reading, and the reading is pretty high level, kind of complicated things. So you're going to have to really take your time as you're reading to make sure you're understanding what's going on. And the course moves really quickly. So we do have assignments due every single week. So you've always got to be checking in, making sure that you're not missing any due dates or anything like that. So some of the more specific expectations, like I said, we do have regular due dates, so you've got to stay on that course schedule. That you can find that in the syllabus. Also, we're going to be doing some online communicating and discussion boards. So I would just ask you to please be as respectful as you would be if you were face-to-face. Sometimes when we're online and we can feel a little more anonymous, we might say something that we would never say to someone's face, in an actual classroom setting. So we just need to treat it the same way. Everybody has different opinions. We're going to be debating some controversial topics and things like that. So just please be very careful to be respectful when you are replying to each other on the discussion board. And for the late work policy, the general overview is there is no late work allowed at all. All of your assignments have to be turned in on time on the due date that's posted. The only time that I would allow late work is if there's some kind of unavoidable emergency. If you have some, unexpected thing happen that's completely out of your control, I can definitely understand that things like that happen. But things like going on vacation or just a minor illness where you had to take your child to the doctor or something like that, all of those types of things, you had to work late or whatever, those are all just kind of normal life happenings, and that does not constitute an emergency that would qualify for university-approved excused absence. So I would say 99.9% of the time, late work is not going to be allowed. You would have to have something really major, extreme, unavoidable happening in your life to get one of these excused absences. But if that does happen, please let me know because I am definitely willing to work with you. You have to contact the Office of Student Affairs. They'll approve your absence when you give them some kind of documentation, and they'll check it out and make sure that it's valid, and then they'll send the information to me. So that's how that would work if you did have an emergency like that. With the discussion boards, even if you do have one of these excused absences, you still cannot turn those in late because the purpose of the discussion board is to be having an interactive conversation. It's just like if we were in an in-classroom setting and you can't really go back and talk to people after they've already moved on to the next thing, and the discussion board is going to close down at the end of the week, and you will not be able to go back and do those late, even if you have an excused absence. So just be sure that you're getting all your work turned in on time, or even a little bit early, to make sure that you are not missing any assignments. That's very important. If you do have technical difficulties, that is not going to get you an excused absence. So if you're trying to turn something in and your computer crashes, unfortunately, that's not going to be an acceptable reason that you didn't get your assignment turned in, and you would not be able to turn it in late at that point. You would end up with a 0 on the assignment if you can't get it in before the due date. So just be really careful about maybe turning things in a little bit early to kind of avoid those last minute emergency type of situations with your technical difficulties. Also, saving an extra copy somewhere is a really good idea. So that way, if something happens to it, you have another copy somewhere else. If you've been working on an assignment for several weeks and then something happens to your computer and you lose everything, that's extremely frustrating. So just as you're going through your assignments, you can email yourself a copy. You can save it onto a Google Drive that you can access from anywhere. You can save it onto a flash drive, something like that, just to make sure you have a second copy somewhere else. You can email me a copy of the work with that way the time and date is stamped on the email to show me that you have finished it. If something's wrong with Blackboard or, you can't get it to submit, you can also email me a copy so that I know you have it done on time, but then keep trying to get it turned in on Blackboard. Okay, so a little bit of an overview. This class does not have a textbook. You will not need to purchase a physical textbook, which is good news because that will save you a lot of money. Textbooks are expensive. But please don't think that means you don't have to read anything. There is actually a lot of reading, probably more reading than in a normal textbook. How you're going to do that is you're going to access 2 different ways. There's a website that's called the OER. That's the Open Educational Resource, or sometimes I call it an online educational resource. And here's the link. I'm going to show you how to access that in a different video. But that is your textbook. You'll be reading articles on there. You'll be watching videos. That's where the main content of the course is. There are also going to be additional readings on Blackboard. So I'll upload some extra articles or things like that you'll also have to read. But everything that you need for the class is online, so you don't have to purchase a textbook. And then here's a list of the different assignments. I'm going to go into more detail about some of these on the next few slides, but we have a syllabus quiz due right away. There will be discussion boards throughout the semester. Have a few quizzes. You'll have empirical article worksheets, a book review, and then the final exam is comprehensive. And then just one note about assignments and grades and points in general is that there is no extra credit. I cannot just bump you up at the end of the semester. Every semester I have students email me asking for extra points. And I have to tell them, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't give out just freebies at the end of the semester, even if you're really close to the next grade level up. So whatever points you earn throughout the semester, that will be your grade. So the best way to be successful in the class is just to turn everything in on time, do your best work the first time, and then you should be just fine. Okay, so a little more detail about the discussion boards. We're going to be debating. So if we were in an in-classroom setting, half of the class would have one topic, the other half would be the opposing view, and we would go back and forth and discuss this topic. So that's basically what we're doing here. It's just in an online format. I'm going to provide some articles for you to base your arguments on. So I don't want these discussion boards to just be based on what you think or how you feel or what your experience is. You can definitely include those types of things, but they all have to be supported by evidence that you find in the articles. So you're going to be posting your viewpoint. You will be assigned which half you're arguing for. So even if you personally do not agree with that side of the debate, you still have to argue for it. And then you're going to be asking questions to your classmates as you're replying on the discussion board, and then you need to be sure to answer all the questions that are asked of you. And Again, please remember to be respectful. And there's a lot more detail about this assignment on the actual discussion board. So there's instructions on there that tell you exactly what you need to do. Okay, the next assignment I want to talk about is the empirical article worksheets. So I'm going to provide some articles on Blackboard for you. I think a lot of people have trouble with this concept of what is an empirical article, how do I find it, or it's a little more complicated than just going to a newspaper or magazine. That's not what we're talking about here, that type of article. These are the scientific journals. So I'm going to provide the articles for you so we make sure that you are reading the right type of article. And then you're just going to answer some questions, some really basic summarizing the article type of questions. I just want to know, what is the study about? Who did they study? How did they go about doing it? What did they find? You know, it's just really basic questions about the article. And then you'll upload the file and save it and turn it in on Blackboard. And then we'll also have a book review. So this is an actual physical book that you're going to need to get your hands on a copy of. You can buy it through the bookstore if you would like. Some of them might not be available on the bookstore, so you can look on Amazon or something like that. A lot of them might be available at your local library or at USM library, so you could check them out for free. There's a list on Blackboard of approved books, so you need to make sure that you find a book that's on that list. And this assignment is going to be turned in 3 different stages. So each stage is a grade by itself. Stage 1 is due right away, right at the beginning. So you're going to need to find that list. You're going to need to look through it and then pick a book. And you send me the name and author of the book that you chose. And you can't change the book halfway through the semester. So you've got to make sure it's something that you're happy with. So that's going to be the first step. What you need to do right away is find which book you're going to read. Then you'll have a few weeks to read it. And about halfway through the semester, you're going to turn in the next stage of the assignment, which is just a basic outline. This is just really rough. It doesn't have to have a lot of detail. It's just going to be the main points of what you're going to put in your book review. And that is also for a grade. And then the final, stage 3, is right at the end of the semester, and that's going to be the actual book review. That's going to be the complete, everything, full detail. And you can find more details about this assignment also on Blackboard. So that's it for the overview. I just want to welcome everybody to class.